Up the strings like the stock market. They ain't with no beef, tell them stop talking. Rock a goatee like I'm Hulk Hogan. Put on R&B, then I hit her with the slow stroking. Ooh. Then I told her she could hop on it, bop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she needs some good, tell her she could hop on. She know I'm the top dog, I know she a hot one. But Lindsay's on the feet, and you know I got the socks on. Yeah, I get my bop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she needs some good, tell her she could hop on. She know I'm the top dog, I know she a hot one. But Lindsay's on the feet, and you know I got the socks on. Yeah. Double B's on me, yeah. Double C's on the dough. Double D's dunking, no. Going nuts for the flow. Tank on E, F it, bro. I'm a G, let him know. Who is he? ISO. Who is he? ISO. Pop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she wanna give me neck, gotta keep the top on. But she got the top off while I got topped off. She was taking too long. Now I'm feeling nod off. So I get my bop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she needs some good, tell her she can hop on. She know I'm the top dog, I know she a hot one. But Lindsay's on the feet, and you know I got the socks on. Yeah, I get my bop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she needs some good, tell her she can hop on. She know I'm the top dog, I know she a hot one. But Lindsay's on the feet, and you know I got the socks on. Yeah.
Say it again, say it again. You're saying you're sorry, so say it again. Only you can make my world go black. Say you love me, then you take it back. Say it
Good
again,
morning, people. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. James Love Williams, DJ Exclusive, is in the building. Like it or not, it's about to go down. Good morning, everybody. Grab your coffee, your tea, whatever it is you need to get your morning going. Good morning, y'all. Let's get it. Happy Hump Day.
Cause it's too late. Your time is up. Damage done and now it's stuck. Cause it's too late. You roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Yeah. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now.
Good morning, Roller Dragon, Mary C, Nicole Howe, Isabel Nassis, good morning. Boondocks Dragon, Brother Tiger, what's going on? Willie Minor, what's going on? Bonus dance to you as well. Fatal Flaw Dragon, good morning to you. Samaya Coron, good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. The Queen is in the building. We'll get started momentarily here. Good morning, everybody.
Deep inside, cause it's too late. Your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck. Cause it's too late. You roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place.
D20, good morning.
I'm not gonna worry.
Trevor, good morning to you.
Sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one.
Couple announcements real quick. Friday, don't forget, Friday is the patron party. Patron party going down Friday, 9 p.m. Let's do an 80s theme. I think we can do an 80s theme. Yeah, we'll do an 80s theme for Friday's patron party, y'all, so don't forget. And then also next Monday starts Diarrhea Awareness Week. Runs until Friday. I'm a terrible, terrible host.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No.
G-Man, good morning to you, Lily. Good morning, Lily. Christopher Shaw, good morning.
No, you just can't hurt me. No.
Tyler, good morning, Tyler.
It's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could have been my cell. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you all. Cause loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith's strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say, sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong.
Start out, Mark Saunders in the chat. What's going on, Mark? Good morning to you.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get this thing started. Like it or not, it is about to go down. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, man, yeah, it's the summertime, right? Let's get it like or not. Like it or not, it's going. Like it or not, it's going. Yeah. Like it or not, it's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. Like it or not, it's going. Like it or not, it's going. Like it or not, it's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going down.
Rebecca Azor is in the house. You know she got a funny story to tell. Talking politics, culture, a real life ish. I live in life in the ATL. Benjamin, yeah, that's my man. She's always coming up with the master plan. Politics, dreaming, trying to find the meaning of life. While the feds keeps us in stride.
I am your DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams.
Good hope, dad jokes, culture, it's politics. What's here right now is the culmination of all of this. I started out with the mic in my hand, and I ended up with the plethora of fans. I love bringing joy to the people. It makes me feel great, makes me feel regal. I do what I do for you. Tuesday to Thursday, you know how we do. Let's go. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going down.
Like it or not, it's going. Like it or not, it's going. Like it or not, it's going, it's going. Hey man, let's start this damn show.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It wasn't me, it was the intro. Like you sped up was fast to say it.
It got crazy. It got crazy because I was trying to clear my throat. I'm like, it's already, oh my God.
The intro seemed like it was fast to say it.
I said, my God. Like I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. But good morning, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it. Good morning, good morning.
And I'm your host, Rebecca Azor.
And I am your DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I keep dropping the jams.
Yeah, that's kind of catchy now because I know that part in the intro. So definitely caught on. So when you said it, I was like, y'all know who I am. Keep dropping them jams. Yeah. So but good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. Wednesday feeling real gloomy out here in Atlanta. I hope that you guys are liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for following us through our summer series thus far. We are actually coming to a closing, but this week we have guests for you. Okay,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know how when it's coming to the end, so we start really pulling together and getting
right.
together, getting it right. It's kind of like that right there. Yesterday we had a family to the show. We had Chuck And of course, on today, we have more family on the show. We have our girl Olay, who's coming through to discuss more about Rikers. First of all, I can't wait to have her on because it's been a minute. Friend is, booked and busy, and I love to see it.
Right.
And I love the fact that she's coming on home and having some conversations with us over here at Like It or Not. Also, on tomorrow, we have a very, very, very special guest, but keep that a surprise for you. We'll keep you guys on the
leave
edge
it
of the
a surprise.
Mhm. We'll keep you guys on the edge of the seat. But other than that, that is tea. So we got some great news stories for you on today as well. Yesterday I was just down and I was out, had no voice. I laid in my bed after the show, y'all. And Like It or Not was going down. I was asleep, because I said I did get the flu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got the flu. Recovering from it. I think I'm on like my 5th day. So I am beat down. I'm tired, but I am here with you guys. And not
That's
to say
good.
that the flu isn't a dangerous thing, because it still can be something that's fatal. So just
Yeah.
recovering from that in itself, it's crazy. Yesterday I had to figure out things I can do without trying to contaminate people. My girlfriend was like, "You should not be out. You need to be home outside. You sick." And I'm like, "You were so right. You're so right." So the only thing I could do yesterday after she got me together was really go to sleep, and I went on a run to give me some energy somewhere where nobody was going to be, to give me some energy because I just felt really weak, and that helped out as well. So, but that's my story. I'm getting better in the name of, who I serve, my Jesus. He black.
So it sounds like you got the African flu, Rebecca.
But I wasn't messing with no Africans. So what African flu are you talking about?
The African flu, the African mandingo, he be, it's on the brain.
No, I was actually in my home country. So
so you got the Haitian flu.
But I didn't get it from them because I also went to the Dominican Republic. That's where I think I got it. But I'm not.
You got the Haitian with the
Hispaniola. No, I didn't get any of that because I wasn't doing any of that over there. But I was with my brother. Okay, thank you, brother.
Yes, indeed. Right.
We don't play that. But no, but it was like being around. I ain't even gonna front you. See, you get caught up. You know what I'm saying? You out there, you're just having a great time, family, all of that. People think that you can't get, like, for some reason. And I was thinking about this morning when COVID was, hot and spicy, because it's still hot and spicy, but when it was fresh and new on our minds. I remember walking into a few places and I remember hanging out with a few people. In our minds, we didn't know. So when they said quarantine and stuff, we were like, yeah, invite the family and friends over. Yeah, that's because we good. We blood. So it makes sense to be around your family and friends. And then I went to the office down here and I remember having to speak to the lady at the office. She was like, and this is when my office crew, when the office wasn't bad. Neighbors were trash, but the office wasn't bad. I went down there to talk to the office people. Now they're sketchy. But I went out there to talk to the office people. And the lady was sitting on the chair. The lady gonna cross her legs, the manager lady, take off her mask. She was like, yeah, I've seen you around, so I'm good. Girl, what? I was like, I'm gonna keep my mask on. But that's the thing. In that time, it was like, we were picking who we would like. Okay, this person looks nice. They don't have COVID. Like we weren't doing right. We weren't doing the math right. So anyway, I have to say, being around my family over there and just being around my family's friends and stuff, we were all together and close knit. We were in close proximity. So I was telling my sister, like, girl, I have not been close like this in a minute to people. And then I went to a place called Coco Bongos. And that from the outside, it looks like nobody was in there. So I'm like, yeah, it's good. Okay, it's gonna be like a nice, cool. It's almost like there's noise cancellation outside because you couldn't hear what was happening inside. You get in there, and in years before the pandemic, I was never in a crowd like that. I think since last time I went to homecoming at FAM.
Ooh.
Oh my God, the crowd was so packed. So my brother had to pick me up and put me on the bar. So it was just so crazy. And I don't know if I could have got it in there either, but I could have got it anywhere, but I wasn't thinking. And that was my problem. I could have got anything out there, like the way I was rolling.
It's all right. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I got my first monkeypox vaccine shot right before my doctor's appointment last week too.
So are those free?
Yes, they are. Now, I will say this: they are doing the vaccines. Basically, they're giving priority to gay men. I will say, because the first two questions they ask you is, one, are you a male that has sex with other men? And the second question is, have you had sex with multiple partners within the last 14 days? Those two questions determine if you'll get the vaccine or not. And I mean, of course, I lied on one of those questions. Y'all can figure out which one that is.
What, that you haven't had sexual, you haven't been with a man in the last?
No, that I'm not, that I'm a gay man that has
You
sex
said
with
you
men.
weren't a gay man?
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm not that type of man.
You don't tell doctors that you're a gay man?
No, Rebecca. Yes, I do. Rebecca,
look, me. Because look, this is what I say. This is what I say when we go to the doctors, right? In order for us to get the, and I know, but sometimes they ask questions that are pushing it, and sometimes they and I'm not gonna lie, the doctors' questions do come off either racist, prejudiced. They're, of course, it's almost like they ask these questions and they're picking on marginalized communities in these questions. But in the same breath, I learned this myself. If we're not honest about things, you're not going to get things solved.
Done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're not like, if you're not honest with your doctor about some things. So where you feel uncomfortable, you can challenge your doctor on that. Well, why are you asking this question? I want to make sure, you know what I'm saying? You can challenge your doctor about that to make sure you're comfortable with your, your healthcare provider, for sure. But I've definitely learned that if you're not honest with your doctor, things can definitely go wrong.
It's like the doctor is almost the person that knows all of your secrets, if you honestly want to be truthful about it, because you got to tell them everything, your health history, your partner history, if it comes down to it. My doctor this time, he asked some questions. I was just like, but I'm like, damn, I do got to tell you the truth though. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, no. And I think a lot of people get scared when it's the conversation is surrounding STDs, and I'm not saying that monkeypox is STDs. I'm saying STDs in general. A lot of people get afraid to talk to a doctor about that. But the truth is, when you start having those conversations with your doctor, you learn that, okay, first of all, your behind should have never been out here like that. Second of all, because I know that doctors definitely will get you together. But second of all, you learn that there are like, they're not all like life-threatening, but they are a slap in the face for you to get yourself together. If you don't let your doctors know, it can sit in your body and fester and cause other things. Also, a lot of men, I always say this about men, because I know that Nick Cannon actually had this whole conversation saying that 80% of women, and this was his own numbers, I don't know if we talked about this already on here, but 80% of women don't have good hygiene. And I was like, and I had to explain this to a lot of partners that I've had, not a lot of partners like I'm out here in these streets, but my partners, my boyfriends that my relationships, hey, listen, when something is thrown off or whatever, it may be you. We've had general conversations, because I'm like, before sex occurs, we have to get tested. And because I told them this is what these things look like. And I've learned this throughout my life. Like, you may be the cause of something on a woman because you're out here, and you may not show any signs of anything, right? It may be dormant in you, but awaken in the woman. So you may be the carrier of something, and then for the woman, you're throwing her off and all this other stuff. So understand that. So that you got to learn these things. Men need to learn those things, and women have to learn these things. I say, like, saying, be honest with your doctors. And with the monkeypox, you're saying that the booster or the shot is free, but they are prioritizing gay males, gay males,
and you might as well say trans as well too. I know B said definitely New York.
New York. So I mean, it's good for everybody to definitely hone in, see if you're going to take the booster or the shot, I should say, and see if it's working for you or whatever the case may be. Monkeypox is out here.
It's out here. It's a whole nother thing, and it's these numbers going up, and now it's multiple children with it as well too. So I just can't. And
Somebody's
granted,
dog
it's
got it. Somebody's dog got it.
oh my gosh, animals, child.
Child, it's crazy.
That's
Anywho.
crazy. Oh, and real quick before you go on forward, thank y'all for yesterday as well too. I'm still a little bit short from getting the medicine, but thank everybody that helped me yesterday. I greatly appreciate it. Just need a couple more dollars, and I should be able to get it hopefully by today or no later than tomorrow. So
Okay,
please,
good.
any help is greatly appreciated.
DJ X3C, DJ X3C, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. So
PayPal is DJ exclusive. Yeah.
Okay, DJ exclusive. All right. So DJ X3C, you guys, thank you guys so much for helping thus far. For those of you who are watching currently, please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Well, again, we have a great show this week. I hope that you guys liked yesterday's show. Today, we got Olay on the show in just a couple of minutes here. And before we get to Olay, I wanted to shout out Latif from yesterday. Thanks for looking out. I wasn't able to go and get any tacos, my God, today because I was in the house. I wasn't able to go get any tacos, but I am healing. And once I do heal, I'll be able to go and do that. And if you guys have been watching and loving our summer series, you guys already know what to do. We're doing this for the frizzle, my nizzle, for the shizzle. That's
the sizzle, my nizzle.
But no, so make sure if you want to support, you can definitely support. Again, we mentioned DJ X3C at Cash App, Becca's Voice at Cash App. Because of you, it keeps us moving, it keeps us going, it keeps us moving. I'm feeling a hint of fall weather outside. That means a new season is coming upon us. Okay,
hallelujah.
I act brand new when the seasons change. They say when when it starts to change. What they say? They say when we see it's a beautiful thing. When we see the leaves fall, and that means that we're letting dead things go.
Ooh.
I'm going to say it again. They said it's a beautiful thing when we see the leaves falling, because that means we're letting dead things go. So again, I feel a crisp air outside, and it's giving me early fall vibes. I can't say that we're already there, but we're almost there. So you guys, we're in transition right now. So we're good. It's been a year. I can't say it's been a tough one. I can't say it's been a spectacular one, but it's been a year. It's been better than the other. It's been better than the other two previous years. I'll say for me emotionally, but I will say, y'all, let's get ready for this next season that we're going into. It's a change. If you want to delete all your pictures off your Instagram and start fresh, you could do that. If you want to start that diet, you don't gotta wait till January 1st for the New Year resolution. Baby, if you want to start changing up the feng shui in the house to bring better energy, you can start doing that. If you want to start that fast, if you want to take a leave from the job so you can look for another job, listen, there's always a way, baby. Do what you need to do to get you together. Start that business, start that book. Hey, listen, what we doing? What we doing?
What Beyonce say? Release your job. Release your soul. Release the trade. Release the wiggle. Release all of it.
Release it. And you know they said the best twerk starts in the hop. So if your hop ain't right, baby, the twerk ain't gonna be right. So when we're releasing it, make sure you plant it.
It's funny because it's true. Wait a minute.
Because if the initial hop ain't right, like the bounce, the twerk ain't gonna be right. It's not. I'm telling you, if ever you've twerked or plan to twerk in your life, you know that first jump to get into the twerk is going to lead to the wiggle. If it ain't the wiggle, it's going to lead to the back break. You don't want to be contracted. You want to be bouncing and bouncing. Amen.
Contract.
That's
No,
my
we don't
teacher
want
from
contract.
the 9th grade. She said that was a dance move for the crump. She said contract. How to go right? Contract. It was crazy. She's in jail, by the way.
What?
She's in jail because this ain't funny. It ain't supposed to be funny, but that lady was sleeping with the little black football players.
What? Wait, was this high school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! I thought this was college.
She was letting them into her. She was
into her what?
You started it.
She was letting them into her home. You know how football players
Okay.
come from different communities, and she was, yeah, she was a great dance teacher. I mean, she didn't have all the best moves, but she tried to give me a C because I came 5 minutes late to my dance recital. You can't fault me for that. My mama Haitian. You didn't understand what I was trying to explain.
It's terribly funny. Oh, that's terribly funny.
Okay. So as we're waiting on our girlfriend to come to the show,
Oh man.
let's go ahead and move to some early stories. I did drop some, so I know, Josh, I apologize in advance, and I wanted to apologize to you on air. I know I hit you with a lot on today, but I love you so much, and I mean that forever. So I know that we have these stories in the sheet, but I'm gonna go with what's in the Slack. Love you so much, mean it. Now, there are a couple of things I wanted to touch on. Yesterday evening, Liz Cheney, who we've seen in the past few months going against Donald Trump, who is a Republican. We know her to be a Republican. We know her to be, somebody who for decades, she is Republican royalty from her lineage. And so we've seen her in these last couple of months speak up against Donald Trump and how he acted and denounce him from January 6th and all things January 6th, which was a domestic terrorist attack by a lot of Trump supporters. And we've seen her, and people have been saying we should praise her for her efforts. And I have said many a time on my platform and on different platforms that I don't think she should get dust for anything that she is doing now, because this is what she's supposed to be doing. Right? As a representation of her people and her constituents. So Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, Donald Trump's fiercest Republican adversary in Congress, now soundly lost a GOP primary, falling to a rival backed by the former president in a route that reinforced his grip on the party's base. The third-term Congresswoman and her allies entered Tuesday downbeat about her prospects, according to the AP, aware that Trump's backing gave Harriet Hageman considerable lift in the state where he won by the largest margin during the 2020 campaign. Cheney was already looking ahead to a political future beyond Capitol Hill that could include a 2024 presidential run, potentially putting her on another collision course with Trump. I would say most recently we've heard of the collision course with Donald Trump, that butting heads with Donald Trump, because as I've said on the Hill, I believe it was 90% of a lot of her backing for years was Trump backing. She backed Donald Trump and his policies for years. Okay. And so, gotcha, Josh. And so, to think that her speaking up, because I think that she wanted the momentum to push her in that presidential conversation, because we did go through a phase where we were saying things like people who did small things would be like, oh my God, that is so presidential. Remember what we did with Andrew Cuomo? That is so presidential. He is so presidential. And it was like the bare minimum. It was what he was supposed to be doing. Same with Liz Cheney, who just 2 seconds ago, just because she started to denounce Trump, I can't put her on a pedestal for that. I can say, okay, great, she's doing that. Let's move forward. But this is what she's supposed to be doing. This is what she was supposed to be doing, right? It took her months to start speaking up because I guess the heat was getting to her. No, it was because she knew that this race was coming up. She knew that she wanted herself to be more seen in a presidential light. She needed that base to grow for her. Her numbers were getting low. And so that was a PR push. And Donald Trump definitely was like, you go against me, you won't win, heifer. And that's what we saw. Our girl is here. Olay is here. Bring her on. I'm ready.
Hey.
Good morning.
Olay.
How are you?
Good. I miss y'all.
Girl, look, baby, she is brand new. Look, brand new apartment. I just got a new apartment.
You see the sun?
I see that, baby.
Flow wet.
Listen, out of the basement, stepping into a new chapter. I feel rich.
Come on now.
That's right, baby. That's right. We rich out here. Okay. We got windows because I know what it's like to live in New York, baby. So windows is a big deal. Sun shining, all that space.
I did a bid. Listen, I did a bid in the basement. I'm not even accustomed to being on like the street level. You should see, right? So I got floor to ceiling windows, and the way that I'm so accustomed to the basement, I'm in here fully naked, and I'm looking at this street like, and I'm like, wait a minute. I had to like go outside, cross the street, and look from my window, like, oh,
yeah.
All right.
No, I got the same issue. I got the same issue from my bedroom to here, floor to ceiling windows, and so sometimes I'll be dancing. I'm always naked in my house. It's my place. It's whatever. I'm always so just dancing around looking crazy.
No, that's me. No, 100%.
There's a film on the there's a film on the other side of it. They can see at night, but in the daytime they can't see me.
See,
but there's
I
a
have a film, but no, I don't even.
You go. I'm in my house. It is what it is.
I think y'all can be okay. Y'all should be not getting my house. No, and you know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I walk the neighborhood and I look through other people's windows just to confirm, like, oh, I should be living right. I can see what they up to.
Passing by the front of my complex, I've seen a lot of things.
Yes,
I've seen a lot of things, and I just mind my business.
Because I'm giving it up. I'm giving. You watch You, Rebecca? Did you watch You on Netflix?
I've watched maybe I think 1.5 of the season.
I'm giving it up just like when I'm back, like right in front of the window. I be looking across the street waiting to see Joe.
Right, and look. Listen, people crazy. You don't know who see you. I feel like people in the plaza behind me because there's a whole shopping plaza, Target, Sephora.
They checking on you, Rebecca.
I know they see.
They checking on you. No, they checking.
Ain't nothing really to see,
both of y'all. Look.
Listen, I can't help myself. I like the drama, the windows.
Enjoy it, and you know, when I first moved in here, I played that song literally. Like the apartment song by Ari.
New Apartment by Ari Lennox. I was just going to say, oh, you too love the drama. Yes, yes, same. Soon as I turned it on. So, and listen, when I get my new couch is over. Okay, I'm about to make a whole music video in here.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
Come on, music video.
Yes,
make it happen. You start getting that. See, that's the feng shui I'm talking about. The seasons are changing, baby. You changing up the spot. You in a new spot. Listen, it's all coming together. I told you, transition. It looks good on you. It looks good on you. Yes. All right. So you brought us a story today about Rikers. I know that's your thing. I want to hear what's going on. I heard somebody else is dead. I ain't shocked because it's Rikers. Talk about it. What's going on?
So before I even get through with the state of Rikers right now, as you know, is every time I come back here, it's worse than the last time. Mm-hmm. I got to talk about this corrections officer that shot the boy in the Bronx, right? Mm-hmm. So July 15th, a corrections officer named Dion Middleton shot a 18-year-old who was playing with an Orbeez water gun in the Bronx, shot and killed him, shot him through the car window, through his jaw, and killed him in the car, left him, did not call the hospital, did not call 911, simply continued walking home to his girlfriend's house, went to sleep, got up, went to work in the morning to the Department of Corrections, told his coworker, another person, and we're going to get to the exciting part, told his coworker, of course, didn't report him or anything. He was arrested at the Department of Corrections because of the surveillance on the street. You know, the police seen the street camera footage and they came and arrested him. Now, mind you, immediately the director of commissioner for the Department of Corrections comes out and he's like, this does not reflect all the corrections officers. This does not reflect us. That this corrections officer did this. Dion Middleton, the corrections officer that shot these 18-year-old, is who trains the other officers at the Department of Corrections for the last decade. He is the trainer for all the corrections officers on firearms and safety for the last decade. So it quite literally could not reflect them more. This is the person that y'all have elevated to the place. He is who trains them. He is who y'all decided the other officers should reflect. And it's important to note, this officer has a disciplinary record. He has been in trouble before for failure to report use of force. And here again, shoots an 18-year-old kid, does not report it, no regard at all. And he did a lengthy video confession to the police. Because, you know, these is boys, right? And he was very like, you know, I should have called. I should have said something. But he's like, he knew it wasn't a gun. He knew it was not a gun. He knew he had not been shot. But shot him anyway. You know what I mean? He knew. And in a different world, I'd give less credit to a police story if this weren't, in fact, a corrections officer himself, you know what I mean, who sat down and voluntarily had conversations and whatnot. So that, I think that is important, right? Because while they're trying to diminish and deviate and treat this as some kind of isolated incident that has nothing to do with the Department of Corrections, it does. The amount of the amount of brutality that happens at at Rikers and at the Department of Corrections is unreal. But importantly, this year, half of what Rikers, the problem is Rikers, they've missed more than 12,000 medical appointments. 12,000 medical appointments. They have not taken, the corrections officers are obligated to accompany and take the people incarcerated at Rikers to their appointments, but they have not been taking them. They've just chosen not to and left them, and they've missed their medical appointments. And so I think this is a direct reflection of that kind of callousness. Like, why don't they care about these people? You see, this is how they treat even just regular civilians in the street, children, people playing with water guns when they know they're not in danger. Yep.
Yeah, okay, so before we get to the video, there's a lot to unpack here. So let's go back to the young man that was shot by the corrections officer. The motive for it.
So listen, my understanding is, so he's it's extremely hot in New York City. Let's just talk about it. But an over 90-degree day, they're playing with water guns in the neighborhood. And so he has the water gun in the car. His sister described it as it was a water gun fight. Like throughout the neighborhood, people had the water guns because so hot. So has the Orbeez water gun. And if you look at the Orbeez water guns, they are visibly toys. It's important to say this because, as much as I don't like to, I don't even like to legitimize nonsense, bad faith arguments that are made every time there's any kind of police brutality. But I'm going to say it for saying its sake. This is visibly a toy. Are y'all looking at these? Yeah. These are toys.
You cannot mistake these for a real gun. There's no way possible.
Right. And importantly, this is an important point too. The corrections officer admits that he knew it was not a gun and he had not been shot. So that is an important point. You can't now and immediately, and this is why not only can you not say this officer's actions are not, you can't say, it's not a reflection of the Department of Corrections. It also extends to the NYPD, because what was the first thing they did? Upon hearing that a corrections officer murdered an 18-year-old in the street for playing with a toy water gun, they immediately launched this online campaign against the water guns, vilifying, this is criminal, trying to, make them out to be an air rifle. And really what it doesn't do, the only thing it does is reflect just how much American society tries to criminalize everything to justify bad behavior, because this is a toy. And I don't care whether or not you're trying to say, we don't allow it, we shouldn't allow it, it's criminalized and blah, blah. That just shows the way you were criminalizing a toy in regular activity. You mean to tell me someone murders an 18-year-old and your first thing to do, rather than point out how murder is illegal, pulling out your gun, having your gun. This is New York City. He has his weapon that I'm pretty sure he's an off-duty corrections officer. You shouldn't even have this weapon with him. You go and you shoot this 18-year-old. That's no discussion of the real gun and the real guns that are not allowed on the streets of New York City. They don't talk about that. Now you want to vilify the 18-year-old and people using visibly toy water guns.
And he continued. My mind is shot right now. Like I am shocked because he continued to walk home. The corrections officer, after murdering,
went to his girlfriend's house.
To his girlfriend's house. He continued and slept, got up, went to work.
Yep.
Shared the story with his coworkers.
Right. And like that kind of thing, when you think about that, right? And you think about just in June, when the corrections officers let Herman Diaz, a person who's incarcerated at Rikers, they let him choke to death on an orange in front. He was in front of corrections officers, choking to death on the orange. And the other people in his cellmates were trying to help him and screaming for help. And the officer just stood there. And the defense was from Eric Adams and the commissioner was that, he was actually like technically off duty or something, so he wasn't obligated to help. And then you would wonder, in what world, you would think to yourself, in what world does someone watch somebody stand there and watch somebody die and have no compassion? In the world where you're trained by the person that shoots an 18-year-old and kills them and goes home with no regard. It doesn't seem so wild how you end up with these results. So it is, in fact, a reflection. How many deaths this year have we seen of this year and last year of people dying at Rikers with corrections officers just choosing not to do anything? People begging for medical help in their cells, corrections officers saying that happened to Brandon Rodriguez last year. He was in his cell, he was dying, he was begging for medical help. They refused to go get him any medical help. They said, walk him back to his cell, and that's where he died. Walk him back to his bed. And so when you look at all these incidents that seem like these really outrageous, morally depraved incidents that you're like, how did we get here? It seems like some kind of mistake, some kind of tragedy. You realize, no, that is how they feel. This is just the level of callous disregard they have for poor Black and brown people and the people in the system. This is how they're moving.
Yeah, and these so like I said, it's so much to unpack. My God, like the correctional officer himself, it reminds me of a lot of these people who wear these suits or these uniforms, and you know, in their mind, still believe that they're officers. And you know, we already know how officers are. But as soon as they leave work, they feel like they should be. They abuse their power, and they feel like they should be respected in such a way, like just
because they spent all day playing God.
It's ridiculous, and we see them abusing their power. There is nothing that a correction officer can do, to me, that even that a police officer can do, because they are not there to protect and serve. We fear police officers. We fear anybody who works in that vicinity who wears a uniform. Even a corrections officer, we know how they treat inmates. We know the stories, especially the ones that you bring and you discuss on your own platform about Rikers. So just to know that he knew that he can go home, walk home, go to bed after shooting this baby down.
And go back to work.
In July. Yeah, and then go back to work. Share in confidence with his co-workers.
And know that he won't be reported.
Exactly. Because he knew that if he did it this way, there would be some form of protection for him.
Right.
These people in uniform know that the people in uniform, their associates, their colleagues will find a way to protect them in some way, shape,
absolutely,
or form.
Absolutely. They know that it will be justified, because you know why? They see so much worse happen that they get away with, right? We hear about even the deaths, right? Even the death toll. We're at 12 deaths for the year at Rikers this year, right? Even the death toll. Even that, you got to fight with them to tell you the truth about that. There were 3 deaths back to back in June. There was a death, an in custody suicide that Eric Adams quite literally tried to cover up. Tried to cover it up because they're required, once there's an in custody death, they need to alert the attorney general. They need to alert the DOJ so that there can be an investigation immediately. And if you know, you want to get evidence, and investigations need to start as soon as possible, because it gives people, if not, people have the opportunity to hide evidence. They have the opportunity for a time to spread out. So instead, what Eric Adams does, a person, he was in the Bronx holding cell, and he hung himself in the cell. The officer, who's not in the post, chilling, doing what he's not, everything other than what he's supposed to do, comes back late, meets him there. And the minute they cut him off, the kid he's dead, right? They put him in a coma, in a vegetated state, and they waited and then now look how cruel this system is. These are all people, I remind you, all of these people have not been convicted, all pre-trial. So now that the kid is dead, he is in a vegetated state. He is, you know what I mean? He has hung himself. Now we'll give him a compassionate release so that he could go down.
Are you?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And did not even tell his family. Didn't even tell his family. He didn't even tell his family. So he dies. And officially they determine, he's dead once he's in his hospital. But he died. The suicide happened in custody. Instead, Eric Adams doesn't report that. And once it comes out, and reporters realize, this was a in custody suicide, Eric Adams' response to the news and the media coverage about covering it up is, my understanding is he died a place where he died.
Wow.
I hate that, man.
That's not even that's that Kamala Harris thing. They just be putting out things that make no sense, words together that doesn't make any sense, and still that is still enough for people to just deal with. No,
let's just move on with it.
Yeah, we can't just deal with that. Clearly, what he's saying is he doesn't give a damn.
Not at all.
It's not on his agenda. It's not on his radar. This is not going to make more news than it has on today. Here's my BS statement, and we'll move forward.
He has when I say to you, he has a striking level of lack of compassion and inhumanity for Black and brown folk. It's actually unbelievable. When the 3 deaths happened back to back in June and at Rikers, do you believe the first death is a corrections officer watching Herman Diaz choke on the orange to death? The next, a drug overdose, a suicide. All these deaths back to back within the space of a week. Do you know what he did when all his corrections, and each death, corrections officers let it happen? They were around or failed to show up at their posts, or failed to take people to do their medical attention. And every single death, this man, he doesn't call the families. He doesn't call the families to offer compassion. He doesn't offer any words about this. He doesn't swear to make the situation better. Do you know what he does? He goes down to Rikers to let the corrections officers know, I'm proud of you. Don't let these people bring you down with all these negative criticism. I stand with you. Eric Adams, I stand with you, Department of Corrections. As people die, they're not even alert. They're not even alerting families. People are just finding, like, they're just finding out.
Olay, let me ask you.
Yes.
Oh, I was about to say, so why are there so many issues at Rikers? Is that due to Eric Adams' dumbass? Is that where the majority of those issues stem from? Because it just seems like, I know you report on these issues a lot, and it just seems like it's not getting any better at all.
It's not getting any better. You're absolutely correct. It's gotten worse. It has been worse. There's been a new death. I don't think in the last year of me showing up to y'all to tell y'all about Rikers, every single time there's more deaths. I've got more deaths to tell you about. At any random time, you could ask me, the situation is worse than when we last left it. Listen, I wish I could, and I've said this before, it's not the soil at Rikers that is making Rikers some exceptionally terrible place. Rikers is a reflection of the pretrial detention centers and the jails and the incarceration system in this country at large. I just so happen to live in New York City and be working with Rikers in specific. But recently, I've been looking at Cook County Jail in Chicago, which is Chicago's Rikers. And it's actually shocking to have to say that I believe the situation at Cook County Jail is worse. I think the average person, Cook County Jail is a pretrial detention center as well, right? But the average person, Chicago. So the average person incarcerated at Cook County Jail awaiting trial, they spend as much as between 4 to 8 years is the average. Someone is sitting in jail pre-trial, has not been convicted, has not had their trial. I was shocked. I'm like, is there no concept of speedy trial, any kind of constitutional rights being respected or considered here? I heard from just a few months ago, the wife of a man who died in Cook County Jail during the pandemic because they didn't get him his medical care. Husband, she'd been married to this man for 17 years, high school sweetheart, love husband, and her husband dies because of the just complete just depravity, just moral bankruptcy that people are experiencing in these places. There are people, I think the longest person I've heard of that's sitting in Cook County Jail pre-trial is 11 years. 11 years. Over a decade of your life on something you have not been convicted of because you're poor.
And you have no, that is abuse. That is, see, that bothers me a lot. And we know that and people they want to say that this is some type of rehabilitation, right? You were read your rights. You weren't given any access to your rights.
Right.
They ain't going to give you nobody. So somebody to stay there for 11 years.
Prison has nothing to do with rehabilitation.
That's what they say.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with rehabilitation. And you know what? Let me just say this. I want to be in the business. I want to come into the era of calling out bad faith arguments. They know it has nothing to do with rehabilitation because the same people who have that argument when they want to throw people in jail, throw them under the jail, they're the same people who making jokes about people being raped and abused and stuff in prison. Like, oh, that's what they'll get. They know it. They know that prison is a cruel place meant to do nothing but break your spirit and inflict as much suffering and torture, not just on you, but anybody who loves you, anybody who is in community with you, anybody who could see themselves in you. And they know that this prison system we have, it's unfortunate the way, we have us here, right? And we live our lives and in the ways that you're not, it's so easy to forget for a second, right? You think, oh, time has moved on. People think it's this modern era. They think everything is in the past, all these injustices of yesteryear, but all around this country, the average person that looks like me and you, this is what they're being subjected to. These are the dangers that they face before they can even think about the dangers and what lies lurking around the corner. You got to think about your own state and your own government and your own institutions that are working hard to try to find a way to subjugate you. And too many. I think I was just reading, one of my books and, it talks about the explosion of our criminal system, right? Especially when you came to the war on drugs. And we went from 30,000 people in prison to suddenly it was 500,000 Black people incarcerated all around this country. And this is as prison doesn't stop, but people have to remember incarceration and the effects of having a criminal system and being criminalized and having a rap sheet and all these different things. It doesn't stop with you. It does not stop with you. If I go to jail and I have no ability, I'm in prison and now I have a criminal record beyond what is the psychological impact on me, the time that I've lost, what that does to me as a person, right? That changes my entire ability to do anything for me, but the generations to come. You know, I can't. What about your children? What about your mommy? What about all of your family that was already strapped, doing everything that they can to try to help you, and they can't do nothing about you? The psychological impact on that. Well, where does it leave your kids? It's just generation after generation after generation after generation.
But they don't think about that. That you're right. It's like a domino effect, you know. And while I don't like that people don't have access to, you know, public defenders or they don't, and they don't give them the knowledge that they do have access to that, or if they can get it or whatever the case may be, they'll make sure that you're stripped of that. When I hear of Rikers and I hear of the abuse that goes on, or when I see the conversations online, especially under some of the threads that you'll repost or whatever, I'll read them and I'll see people saying, well, this person should be in there. The streets are better off without this particular person. But when it's a story about somebody like Kyle Rittenhouse or the Carolyn Bryant or whatever, however many years or whatever, they say things like, this person has done their debt to society. They changed their hearts. So, you know, but like this person murdered people.
Because they don't think at the end of the day, the system that they have in place is not meant to apply to them. That system is meant for keeping us in place. That's just what it is. That's just the point of it. That is just the simple truth of it. As you know, there is quite literally nothing that their side of the aisle can do that they will not have a justification or defense for.
Right.
Like, think about this. We live in a country, right? Police brutality is in the everyday, and I do not use that as hyperbole. Police brutality is an everyday reality in America. And I just mean in terms of deaths, right? Like, we don't even have to get to the lower, right? They're only even counting, police shot and killed over 1,000 people last year. They shot over 1,000 people, shot and killed over 1,000 people last year. That's who they shot and killed, and that's who they admitted is, you know what I mean, that they killed. That's not all the millions that they're covering up. That's not all the brutality. That's not all the deaths by other uses of force. That's none of that. So police brutality is quite literally the everyday reality in America, and it's been that long before you, long before me, long before all of us, right? It's been that. And yet, we have seen every kind of Black victim, every single kind. We've seen them all. We have seen children. We have seen women. We have seen sons. We have seen fathers. We have seen pregnant women. We have seen every kind of Black person in every kind of demographic suffer at the hands of police brutality. And they justified every single one, and they vilified every single victim. When have you seen it not be that case? When you live in a world where they can justify, they can boldly tell you it's okay to kill 12-year-old Tamir Rice, no charges there. When you live in that world, when you live in a world where Mike Brown can lay in a pool of his own blood on the ground for hours before they come and pick him up, hours where Ma'Khia Bryant can be killed 2 seconds after the George Floyd verdict, and then people are justifying why a 16-year-old that was in a foster care system doing her best to defend herself is killed in front of people that are supposed to care about them. These are the kinds of things that are happening. People are being pulled over. Dante Wright for a air freshener in his car, killed. Botham Jean can't sit in his own apartment, killed. Terrence Crutcher, killed. Alton Sterling, killed. Everybody killed.
There's so many different names.
There's so many. I can find you every different version example, and then you will find the exact same contingent of people prepared to defend them at every single turn. And you know why? Because it has nothing to do what's right or what's wrong. It has everything to do with they are okay with the police state that they put in place in order to subjugate us, in order to keep us in a lane, in order to incarcerate us, in order to keep us out of their way, out of their face. So quite frankly, off of this earth. That's what they're going to justify and defend. And we know that. So it's important even not to get lost in their bad faith arguments, because that's what it is.
Right. Yes. And it's important to say that those are bad faith arguments. And what you're saying right now, well, you see, the difference is when you're talking about this, not only are you somebody who represents the people that are dying every day physically, you're a Black woman in America, you're a Black person who's living in America. You got an immigrant background. It's problematic to people, especially who are white in America. Right. You are a lawyer, right? Yes. This is what you do every single day. You've actually witnessed, you've gone to Rikers, you've held the Vincent Rikers holding the people accountable. You've had these conversations on different platforms. So what people like to see when you're speaking is that you're arguing, and you're not arguing. Everything that you stated is actually factual. It's facts. Right. These are not feelings. These are not numbers that were made up. This is actually facts. And people like to see and hear is, oh God, she's too passionate. No, I'm living this and I'm passionate about this because I want to stop it. I represent people daily who are going through this often. So this is something that is true. And I think what people will like to do is teeter on, oh my God, she's too emotional. No, this is my daily, this is my everyday. I live.
It's not emotional enough. I don't think we're not emotional enough.
Right.
We're not emotional enough. Quite frankly, there are days I have a thread where I post police brutality killings, and I haven't done it in a long time, in a while, because it's a lot. It's hard to want to do that on a day-to-day, Yeah. And I'm like, I talk to people all the time, like my fellow Black friends, and we talk about police brutality, and everybody is just so winded and so just emotionally exhausted of having to consume this reality, and it's almost like you want to ignore it. You don't even want to see, oh, there's the next police killing. You want so badly to believe. I could get lost in a new Beyonce album. Lizzo dropped the album, Meg Thee. I want to go focus on that. I want to go live in that America where I don't have to think about what is this pervasive oppressive state above me. I would like, so to me it's like, I'm not emotional enough. That's how I feel. And quite frankly, for me, lucky enough, there always be people that came before you. And I read Audre Lorde a lot, and she talks about, when you speak up, you're gonna have people who yell at you. You're gonna lose friends. You're gonna lose all these different things. There are gonna be people who are upset about you and people who hate you because of what you're saying. And then it gets easier. And then you just keep talking. And that's how I see it. I'm like, as long as we live in a country that's still abusing Black people every single day, you're gonna keep hearing my mouth. If you hear it. Yeah.
That's it. That is
period.
That is it. And we talked about this before when you first got on, and I was like, girl, don't read the comment section. When I first got onto this platform doing anything, and I wasn't ready for all the millions of views that I was getting and the abuse that was happening at the time. I was like, oh my God, they coming for me. But then this was like 7 years ago. Ben was like, don't read the comments. And then I stopped reading the comments.
And then you realize it's not even real.
Yeah. Whatever I say, I'm gonna say. And that's just it. There are platforms that people might not look like me on this particular platform, but that doesn't mean I'm going to change the way that my rhetoric or what I'm going to speak on. It's going to be Black. If it's going to be a Black conversation, I'm the Black person here. So we're going to have that conversation. I don't care if you like it or not, pun intended. But Olay, baby, we love you here. We need you got to come back. We need you back again. Miss your presence. Absolutely. I love everything that's happening for you. I love to see the glow up. Look, baby, it's going to be from an apartment to a house. Just wait on it.
Listen,
it's coming, baby. It's coming. And that trip, I am coming to New York. I haven't made it there yet, but baby, it's coming before the end of the year.
You need to make the trip. I want to go to Atlanta one of these weekends soon, though.
You need to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring myself to Atlanta for just a weekend.
Yes, carry yourself over to Atlanta.
And speaking of trips, child, Olay, we saw that trip. Was it to Jamaica, Puerto Rico? I can't remember where it was. When I tell you, like, you was living your best life, and I was like, damn, I want to
home in the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, right?
It's better in the Bahamas. It's better.
She was in the Bahamas side. She was giving us everything we needed to say.
Listen, and I'm about to. I think people forgot I was popping. I'm about to show them again.
Exactly.
That's the thing. See, that's what I was real light on my recent vacation here, but I was in these streets. I'm pretty much.
I was living. You was in Jamaica. You were in Jamaica.
I went to Jamaica.
I was living.
I went to.
I was on every story, Rebecca. I was like heart. I was heart in every story reacting. I'm like, yes.
And listen, I post really light, but I'm like, you know what? The streets don't need to see what's going on because I'm out here. Listen, I'm out here.
Listen, I'm going to LA next week. Let me drive me cute. Let me climb some.
Yes, ma'am.
Take me with you. I need to go get discovered. Let me
listen, I've never been to the West Coast at all. I've never been to LA. I've never been at all.
You're gonna love it.
I'm like, let's see.
Love it.
I'm a New Yorker in my soul.
Are you going on vacation or are you going for work?
Work, you know what I mean? They want me out there to talk, but
workation
is my thing.
A workation, baby. A workation. I like that. Look, I'm gonna be in there like, oh yes, look, because baby, I love when my friends go on trips, baby, because we gonna follow along with.
Listen, let me go find me a boo. Let me go walk.
Right. I heard they find out in LA. You know what I'm saying?
What?
After types, we gonna have to talk about it, Rebecca.
We'll talk about
separate in the pod.
I said I need to move out there because I'm like all the good ones in LA. That's what this is right now.
That's exactly what that is.
That's what they say. Because the East Side, I don't know, things is happening over here. I love my East Side boys, but I don't really know.
I'm coming, Rebecca. We gonna spend
Atlanta.
Give me the rundown. But
I will.
Let people know where they can find you.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and all socials at Miss O'Lurin. I also have a website website, alightmelearn.com, so y'all can see me on all the things. Catch me on, what is this? Is this August? September? I'll be on iHeartRadio next month.
Yes, iHeartRadio, baby. Yeah, but you have Olurinati, or what is it?
My Substack, Olurinati. Oh, that's my baby. Let me talk about my Substack. Before I go say it. Yes, my Substack is Olurinati. Isn't that fire? I put out an essay every month. It's my baby. I really love it. It's the best thing I decided to do. I recently have an op-ed on News One right now, and op-ed with T and Vote. But catch all my monthly essays on Olurinati. That's my favorite place. My essay for the month will be coming out soon.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Booked and busy. I love to see it. Love you, Olay. And we
love y'all too.
I'm going to make sure you let me know again the rundown from the LA man. I'm ready.
I shall. Listen, I shall. I got you. I got you.
You mean it. Bye, girl. So look, it's always a party. It's always fun when we have our girl on. Listen, she dropped a lot on us. These are stories that we should definitely be focused on, because just like yesterday when we had Chuck on here, there are a lot of these situations that are happening, and what these people, the leaders of these states, the leaders in the nation, want us to do is kind of go with the flow and act like nothing is really going on. These things are still going on. People are still protesting. Why? Because these things are still constantly happening every single day. This is the reality for people of color. This is the reality for Black people in particular in America. Our suffering is daily, but they don't want you to see that, because they want you to continue on and act like nothing else is happening. They want us to continue to be our senses, or to us to be desensitized to a lot of what's going on. Yes, it gets emotional for us. It gets heavy for us. Sometimes we feel regret for going to have a good time, for going to take space, for going to take time for ourselves. Did you hear Olay? She said she would want to live in a world. It's real sad to even say that. She would want to live in a world where we can just listen to Beyonce. Lizzo just drop an album. Meg Thee Stallion just dropped an album. We want to be out here twerking. I told you, it's a transition of seasons. We want to be able to feel that, not just take a break. But when there's work to be done, there's work to be done. I do say we do need to take breaks emotionally for ourselves, step back. We don't always want to be angry, but it's not anger when we're telling the story, when we're telling it out of passion. It's not anger. And what they try to do is misconstrue it and make us the angry Black people, the angry Black woman, especially when we're speaking from a passionate place with facts. Okay, with facts. But I've seen, I ain't gonna say the platform, when a white woman passionately spoke about abortion, and the same exact way many of us have been doing so, they've been coined as, wow, what a leader, what a voice in this space, all of that. But if we speak up on things that really matter to us as well, with a passionate voice, we're angry. We're angry.
Always. And it goes in everything. It's in life, because I told you, when I just happen to be passionate about what I do at work, I'm always labeled the angry Black man. And of course, it's not that anyone says that, but they come off and they tell my boss, yeah, they said they kind of feared you a little bit. Y'all feared me. Y'all, I've been working here for how long? And now all of a sudden you fear me because I'm passionate about what I do and I know what the F I'm doing. Oh, okay. Trust me. Y'all have nothing to fear about me. You ain't got to worry about me.
No, you ain't got to worry. You ain't got to worry about me.
You ain't got to worry about me. Period.
Listen, for those of you guys who are asking about Olay's Substack, it is Olurinati. I'll go ahead and post it, the spelling for it in the chat. And boom, there it is. Olurinati on Substack for those of you guys who want to follow. Listen, guys, we were not done with the show just yet. Again, I hope that it's been real good to you guys. We have been doing this show for the frizzle, my nizzle, faux shizzle. If you guys want to support, because we needs it, please definitely hit us up on Cash App. Today is Wednesday. $1, $2, maybe 10, whatever's on your heart. This is the collection plate time. Please, on Cash App, it's Becca's voice.
They got no gospel music.
It's DJ White. It's DJ X3C again. Cash App, Becca's voice. Cash App, DJ X3C. Thank you for supporting us thus far. Thank you for your love. Thank you for just being and rocking with us all through the summer. The seasons are changing. Be on the lookout for what we got tomorrow. We got a great look. Just if you ain't in the building,
if you're not here tomorrow, it's gonna be something wrong with you. You definitely got to be here tomorrow. I don't care if you. I mean, I do care that you're here today, but if you is not here tomorrow, you is really gonna miss something special. So just y'all definitely got to be here tomorrow. I can't say nothing else without giving away too much.
Yeah,
Just
we
be here
can't get.
tomorrow.
I'm just gonna give you a little shoulder. I ain't gonna
Right.
give you the whole OnlyFans. You just gonna
Okay.
get a little shoulder.
Just know that this person that's coming on, she didn't drop the new album and ooh, I said too much already.
Just know that this
Just know the
person,
plastic coming off the sofa tomorrow.
this person might be a she, might be a he,
Huh. Might be
they.
he. They, them.
We won't even tell you how they identify.
You
You just gonna have to come on and see. Okay,
John, it might be Beyonce.
Somebody
Y'all
said
never
they got
know.
Beyonce.
She might have sent me a little voicemail or something. So
I heard they call him Miss Jackson or her Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
Okay.
Oh no. Anyway, let me stop playing with y'all. Listen.
Right.
Let me go ahead and do right. Listen.
Look, y'all make sure y'all tell everybody Beyonce coming tomorrow. That's gonna really kill the algorithm.
It's gonna get crazy.
Okay.
It's gonna get crazy. Hold on, child.
Right, Trevor. If it was Beyonce, I would, I'll be all over the place. Unless maybe I signed an NDA.
Okay, so Rick Ross, we're gonna get to him.
Oh man, yes, because that's I love Wingstop. Go ahead.
Wingstop is okay. I used to eat it often.
Yeah, it's just okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started eating wings. I didn't like it. No. Anywho, Rick Ross, the biggest boss thus far, Miami, former correctional officer.
A former correctional. That's a whole lot.
It's a lot with that. Rapper Rick Ross, his family, which operates several Wingstop franchises, owns the 5 Mississippi locations in which the Labor Department found to be illegally deducting money from workers' wages, leaving some with take-home pay less than $7.25 an hour. The Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division says that the Mississippi stores under Boss Wing Enterprises made their employees illegally pay for uniforms, safety training, background checks, and even cash register shortages. Ross's family has been growing its number of Wingstop locations for the last decade. So I guess this is news to me. I didn't know it was a family business. But
right.
The Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division says it recovered $51,674 in wages owed to 244 workers and fined the franchise company $62,753 in civil penalties. During its investigation, the Wage and Hour Division found minimum wage violations because of improper paycheck deductions, overtime violations when the employer deducted wages for safety training and background checks. During weeks, workers took extra shifts, and violations for failing to maintain proper records of hours workers logged. Investigators also found a 15-year-old who illegally worked past 10 p.m. last June. Federal law says young teens cannot work past 7 p.m. A Boss Wing representative reached by phone told a reporter to contact Wingstop's corporate public relations department for comment, even though they operate independently. In a statement, Wingstop distanced themselves from Boss Wings. The restaurants investigated by DOL are owned and operated by a franchise, not Wingstop Restaurants Inc. Our franchise agreement requires all of our franchises to operate under our operating standards, which requires compliance with all laws and regulations, the company said in a statement. We were not previously aware of the DOL action against Boss Wings, the company being Wingstop. That was their statement. Now, the biggest boss thus far.
I'm just so confused about this.
Had a partnership with Wingstop. What we all seen was more so, he's the owner of Wingstop. Okay. Franchises, we know that happens. Well, you can own a couple of partner with the company and own a couple of store locations and make it your thing. I've seen it happen. It's a great business, if you want to do it that way. Now,
Right.
for him to be abusing workers.
So let me pause you there
Go ahead.
because I don't think it's necessarily Rick Ross. Rick Ross, of course, owns the company, but where the issue probably comes in at is the people that he has that's managing his locations and their failure to do that paperwork and everything properly. The reason I say that is because I saw kind of sort of some of this like working at the school for my third party company. It's just that gray area. Because even though we were like with Sodexo, which is the company that gives the school the money and all the
How do you say
food
their
and all
name?
that
I
stuff,
remember because they always pop
Sodexo.
up. Oh,
Yeah,
it wasn't
because
Sodexo.
Sodexo. So they're the ones that actually did FAMU's food service, and now they do Cookman's. Well, they used to do Cookman's years ago.
Yeah, because that's
But
how I know it.
yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things. It's just like you blame that locations, and Tiger just said in Slack his family owns the location, but even still, at the end of the day, it's not Rick Ross. It's his company, yes, but at the end of the day, if they're not going by what that state's laws and mandates and everything was, then they kind of failed to do what they're supposed to do, which is reporting wages and everything else. My thing is, I've seen it where people have to pay for their own uniforms. They have to pay for that training, and they have to do some of the other stuff. Now, granted, this is Mississippi. Those laws are maybe different. So it all is on the laws of that state, and then the people that's there running it. It sucks ass because now Rick Ross's name is attached to that. So it's just like, boss, now you got to pay this money. And looking at it, that ain't gonna be no kind of money for Rick Ross to pay.
Yeah. So I'll say this. I can agree with you to an extent. However, when you take on and you are the face of, and that becomes your brand, right? And he's pretty big on branding.
He is
very big on branding. And if it's a family business, so we're looking at a building of generational wealth. He's probably giving it to his family to continue. Hey, listen, I bought this franchise. I'm going to need you guys to run it. Now, that's going to be something that from a family level, that maybe needs to happen where it's a meeting, a business level, where it's like, hey, this is what's being recorded. This is what's being said. This is what's being reported. Wages, $7 an hour. No, we're not doing that. That we need to rectify, move around, deduct what the problem is, fix the problem, find a resolution, and whatever. And it is not that much money to Rick Ross, but you don't want your brand or what to be looked at that way. People saying, I work for Rick Ross's company, Rick Ross's family, or whatever the case may be. And this is what they're paying. This is what this company is paying. When we think of Tesla, who do we automatically think of? Right? We think of, oh boy, what's his name?
Elon.
We think of Elon Musk, right? And while he's not literally at some of these Tesla corporations, their buildings, their business buildings, yet when things go wrong, people be like, look what Elon done did. Look how he's treating his employees of the company. Look how he's being, right? It's going to be from the person that we know to be the representative in the head. He has to do better if this is something that's going on. Yes, again, this ain't nothing to him. He can write that thing off. But you don't want to be remembered, or your businesses to be remembered, that you're associated with for this type of treatment. We know that we're already getting this type of treatment. Knowing that kids who are 15 years old are working past a certain time, I know this because I used to be a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old working past a certain time because I wanted to make extra money, not knowing my rights with the labor laws, not knowing that I wasn't supposed to be working past a certain time, especially during the holidays, right? This was abuse. And this child didn't know that. Now, we got to make sure that our kids are safe in this environment. We got to make sure that people aren't getting paid lower wages, being abused in this environment, working past a certain time and not getting paid for that time. We got to make sure of that. And as Black business owners or partners, franchise owners, partnering with big brands, our brand is everything. Our brand is everything. And if anybody wants to be working for him, the first thing people say, but that's Rick Ross's business. He only going to pay you about $6 an hour. That's going to be the conversation. So Fix it, Rick Ross. Fix it now. Fix it now. Fix
Right.
it, fix it. How they said it, why did I get married? Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Period. So
yeah, so I'm wondering who, because I see that it does have his mother and sister listed out of this, but you know, he has a cluster of locations in Memphis. But Wingstop's corporate office said Boss Wings has transferred those locations to a new operator. Most of the family's locations are throughout the Southeast Miami where Ross lives. You know, I just hate that sometimes they go after these artists or stuff like this. But there's one key part to put in this. The DOL says it has uncovered more than $34.7 million for more than 29,000 workers in the food service industry during the last fiscal year. At the same time, the Bureau of Labor Statistics continues to report job openings in the service industry as an influx of service workers begin efforts to organize unions. So, yeah. You know,
and I think that Mississippi, because this right now, this is focusing on the stores in Mississippi. I think that Mississippi should be forming a union to protect those workers. I don't care who you are. I don't care. And I get what you're saying. They do come at artists. We've seen a lot of different things that they're coming at artists for, but this is your brand. This is what you chose to go into. This is what you're giving to your family for generational wealth. I get it. It's a beautiful thing. But in order to keep it together, we got to start figuring out where the loose ends are. This is a representation of you. Wingstop is a huge brand. And for them to publicly say that they have distanced themselves from you is
it kind of makes you wonder what their franchise agreement is, because right now, if y'all weren't aware of this lawsuit, then shame on Wingstop, because you should always be knowing what's going on with your franchise. Even though they're franchised out, you should always know what's going on with the company I work for. Even though they're independently owned and operated, they're franchisees. We still are. The head knows what the body is doing.
And so in that same respect with Rick Ross, the head in this particular place of the franchises should know what the body is doing.
Yeah, which more than likely his ass didn't, because he here in Atlanta throwing big ass parties at Holyfield's old mansion where he's
buying cows.
buying cows,
okay,
horses, everything.
So hopefully he gets it together, because I love to see Black businesses flourishing on every level. Now, if you got to be held accountable for that, and the Mississippi people should be unionizing. And I bet you it's because somebody in there said enough is enough and figured out what was going on and brought it to where they can get help and get their money, get their reparations for their time worked. And it makes sense. And
he's unionizing with the restaurant takes so much work that it's just like, it's a lot that goes into it. I remember they tried to unionize at our location, and it just took so long that
unionizing is a lot. The reason why the reason why they make unionizing, creating a union, feel like that is because they don't want you to do it. So in your particular location, or in your job, or in your space, they want you to fear unionizing. Why? Because they want to be able to control you, abuse you. If fired, you won't know your protections. Unionizing allows you to know your protections at the job, allows you to, if something does happen, you will not get blacklisted in those spaces. There are many, and unionizing actually helps, especially people of color, because we know we're the quickest ones to get fired.
I gotta say, it depends on the business, because every union in an organization doesn't help always.
But that's
sometimes,
why,
it just depends on the climate. Yeah.
So that's why unionizing in itself, they've been creating unionizing to help particularly Black and brown people, especially because unionizing is a great idea, but there are some unions that don't work for everybody. I know my friend has built a union, and I know right now I'm actually working with people who are creating unions. So we talk about this all the time, the different pros and cons. And for a lot of people, if you go through your own job history, Bubba, there are many times that you probably could have benefited from being in a union, but you probably...
I disagree, because it wouldn't help me none. It wouldn't help, because I've always been management, so it wouldn't help me none.
Okay, so for you always been, you've always been management.
And even when working in the airport, it wouldn't have helped, because it would have been one of those situations where it probably would have hurt us more.
But that's the purpose of, see, That is, and I don't think people understand that. That is supposed to be the purpose of what a union's supposed to do when it's helping people from the top to the bottom.
Wait,
It doesn't matter
hurt
what.
us?
The help
That's
you.
it would hurt us. It
That's what I'm
would
saying,
hurt
but
us more. Like as an
no,
hourly
and it's not
employee, it
supposed
would hurt
to.
us more.
It's not supposed to. What I'm saying is,
Oh yeah,
even
okay.
no matter what level you're on, even if you're in management, you shouldn't have to worry about it doing any of that. Even in management, because I've heard of people being fired in management and not being able to find jobs afterwards in the same space. Maybe they were sick and could not work, and couldn't work for maybe a few weeks, and their sick time was over, and they still couldn't come back to work. Got to work, they were fired, right? There was no protections for them beyond that. That union that you have should be able to protect you from that kind of space, give you severance pay if need be. If there's law, lawyers that need to be in place for that. All of that is what that is set up to be for you. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what a union is supposed to be. I know for myself that I've been fired from a job and been blacklisted from a job because I spoke up. The union is supposed to protect you in that sense. The people who spoke up in that Mississippi restaurant, you know what I'm saying? They should be protected in a union because they spoke up. You never know. It's like, oh, yo behind them got us on TV and the PR stuff and no, seriously, these are real issues that happen in a space like that. What we saw with Christian Smalls in with the Amazon, right? He was afraid to do it, but he did it afraid, and it helped so many different people in that space with job protections. They did not want anybody to unionize. They didn't want it. So,
yeah, and a lot of these companies, I will say, they never want them to unionize. But once they do start getting it up there, and I just remember the conversations they used to have with us, they just made it seem like that there was a terrorist coming into the building. If we saw anyone walking with a manila envelope, go away. Don't take it. Don't open it. Don't do anything. You bring it right away.
They vilify it. They vilify the people who come.
They really vilify
Yeah.
it. And so I'd be the first one to tell you, like, if I would have got that envelope, I sure would have opened it, because I wanted more from my employees to see what they could have had done better. So I would have been that one that would have opened it. Just so I wanted better for them. And I know that the way that my bosses and the higher ups were treating them, it was terrible. And I sure would have opened it.
Yeah. See, and there's so much, and I'm telling you, Bubba, I think that there's a lot of miseducation when it comes around unionizing. I did not even know that I could unionize at one point in my whole career in any part of it. I didn't know that there could be protections for me in my corporation that I work for. I didn't know that I could be protected. What they do is they create the benefits package to make it seem like you're protected in such a way, but then there are missing gaps, right? There are gaps in place where I realized, damn, how could they take money from me after they finished saying that I needed this time off, and they paid me from it and then took that money back? How can I be protected against things that happen like that? And if I fought against it, I would be in a position where I may lose my job.
Mm-hmm.
I had to understand that speaking up could cost me my job, but who protected me after that? I went to HR and I thought HR protected me.
Nope.
HR snitched on me.
Yep.
Who else can protect me? So many a times there are immigrant workers who do not know that they can be safe. They think that overworking being a good worker protects you in your job. Taking time away from people that you love, working extra hours, being abused at your job. My mother fell down at her job. They still asked her to come into work. She didn't know her rights. She had just came, we were kids. She just came into America. There was no union there, but she didn't know her rights either. She fell. She was still going into work. And the man said, you should have, when my mom was like, I can't continue to go to work. He said, you better come in or you lose your job. She's like, I'd rather risk losing my job. He's like, he told her, you don't even speak English. You should have gotten, what he said, you should have stayed down there he said something disrespectful to her. And this was a franchise owner for Nathan's Hot Dog, Turnpike, back in Palm Beach. Never forget it. And he spoke to me like that. Spoke to my mother like that. Excuse me. I was a kid. I wish he would have spoken to me like that, but I was a child. And there was no protections for her then. I wish, especially for immigrant workers, there is no protection then for them that they have now. So unionizing it protects a lot of people, and it has grown from just being just this and this and this to so many different fights, to so many different things. And while so many different corporations are trying to prevent you from unionizing because they know how it can protect you, they know how it'll allow you to actually do things and be in a safe workplace environment. They know that. And they don't want that for you. They don't want you actually taking the time off that you need. They don't want you to complain about something and they don't and feel like you still can keep your job. They don't want you snitching on the higher up who got friends, who got friends, who got friends. They don't want that. They don't want trouble in the office. They don't want anything in the media. That's why they'll tell you, be careful what you post when you work for us. Be careful what you post on your social media. And it's like, wait a minute, nobody knows I work for you. Not one person. You see what I'm saying? So know your protections. I want to that's actually a lane that I'm looking to start working in a little bit more. So we'll talk about that more.
You be careful with that. And I say that because it just seems like it's one of those things where you got to be careful. And I say that because now you start this union, but then you got to sit down with the employer and try to go through all of this contracts and everything. That's why my thing is just like, unions are cool if they work in your situation, in your location. With me, it's just like I'm basically, how can I say it? It's one of those things where I'm gonna have to go with what the main group says, if that makes any sense. Where first of all, now we're unionized, now I gotta depend on my benefit package coming from y'all. So I gotta make sure that y'all do me right. Versus when I'm like, I know you said protections and everything, but sometimes it's just like some of those protections depending on how they set up that union and what the contract is with the employer. Because at the end of the day, y'all still have to sit down with the employer to make sure that y'all are unionized and got everything together. But versus me, child, I'm going, if HR not on my side, that's cool. I'm going to the Department of Labor and I'm about to blow y'all shit up. You know what I'm saying? And not blow shit up as in actually blow it up. But I'm about to put y'all on blast and about to put y'all on radio with the government.
It's called extra protections because even if you do put them on blast, remember, corporations will always be bigger than you. We've seen people who got hush money, which didn't even amount to the abuse that they got at the job. Well, you know what I'm saying? We've seen a lot of these things happen, and the people who were the abusers or the cause of the issue stay at the job. We've seen that happen many, many times again. We've seen where people can't afford to go to lawyers to take it to court, but that's what the union helps to do. And so that's why I say it's very important. And while the union still needs some adjustments, many different unions need some adjustments in how they are functioning, it's still a step in the right direction. It is extra protections on top of the benefits that you get. So they can't deny you what you get at the corporation. That's why the sit down is
I would rather want instead of me starting a union, I'd rather start a job with somewhere that already has a union in place. I say that because it's the whole work of getting into it. Yeah.
So that's where I want to get into. For the ones who don't know their protections, for the ones who don't know, there has to be protections for them, and that I would, because I've seen it with myself. Again, I've seen it with my parents, my dad, who didn't know his protections, my sister, who I'm looking at in her situation. There's so many different situations that I think a union definitely benefits people off of. And I think that I would love to be a part of something that helps people be more knowledgeable about unions. I see my friend, she didn't know the power of unionizing until she started working for what is one with the teachers and their safety. And at first I'm like, girl, it's just a club, like, like a VIP club. That's what I thought. But during this pandemic, so many of those teachers who were getting abused in different situations were able to protect their jobs, protect themselves, and within that union. So that's really all I got for you guys here. I'm pro unionizing. Rick Ross, go get them people together. Like, please get your family to do right by the people in Mississippi at that location, those 5 locations, because we don't want nobody getting underpaid, baby. Overworked and underpaid is not the steez. Okay, I love you guys so much. Mean it. Bubba, what is today's affirmation?
I release all blocks to my spiritual connections. I release all blocks to my spiritual connections. And thank y'all again. And if y'all do want to help get this last little bit, DJ X3C at Cash App and Venmo. DJ X3C on Cash App and Venmo.
DJ X3C, Cash App and Venmo. Becca's Voice, Cash App. I love you guys so much. Give if your heart is for it. And I'll see you guys on tomorrow. Remember what he said? Block. What you said again? Block everything that's blocked you.
Block. I release all blocks to my spiritual connections. I release all blocks to my spiritual connections.
Anything that's blocking you to a higher experience.
Right.
Get it the hell out of your space. Clean it out. I love y'all. See ya.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for another good show today. And make sure that you have your face in the place tomorrow as we'll have a great guest. You don't want to miss it. And also Patron Party Friday night, 80s. We're going to rock out in the 80s, y'all. So I will see y'all. I will see y'all in mañana. Deuces. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Peace.